Well, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, October 8th. Welcome to your day. I'm Danielle Wiggins with Maureen Kyle, Dave Chudowski, Austin Love, Jasmine Monroe, and Holly Strano. And you are joining us for the On the Go post show that we do every day after the Go morning show. We have a lot of things to get to. And of course, we want to invite you into this conversation. All you have to do is post in the comment section. I'm going to be monitoring your comments and get them in the conversation because we have a lot of things to discuss. Boy, this morning we are waking up after the second debate, this time the vice presidential debate in Utah between Vice President Mike Pence as well as Senator Kamala Harris. And they met for the first time in Utah. And boy, this one was more civil than last week's presidential debate. Topics really included race relations, COVID-19, as well as taxes. So there was some contentious portions of the debate as well. So we want to know what you guys thought about the debate. And Maureen, you were saying some things were bubbling up to the top as well as we were talking right after the show.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think a lot of people are weighing in and reacting, but I think first and foremost, this was a very traditional and very civil debate. And I think what a lot of people are comparing it to is last week's debate, which it was two of the different, last week's was presidential candidates, this was vice presidential, but the civility is definitely something people are talking about. I mean, Vice President Mike Pence comes out on stage and says to Senator Kamala Harris, "It's a pleasure to be debating with you," which was not what we were getting last week. And this time, what struck me is that we were getting to the issues, the stances on each administration or would-be administration. And there was an actual debate of, of policies, and there were retorts. And, when one candidate would say, well, this is where we stand, this is how we feel on this issue. And the other side would say, that's not true, that's not a fact. I mean, it was a traditional debate, I think, first and foremost, that is it. And I saw one political analyst even say that he didn't like when we say so-and-so won the debate, because there's no real way to measure. It's just each side saying my candidate won, no, my candidate won. So I think that there are some things that are trending, that are bubbling up. There were fewer interruptions. There were some interruptions. And the kind of like hot sentences that we're seeing and hot quotes that we're seeing pop up, Senator Kamala Harris saying, "I'm speaking, let me finish." Yeah. And I want equal time, which, a lot of her supporters and people, a lot of women, there's a lot of women are chiming in saying, that hit home with them, that we want equal time. So those are the hot button quotes that are popping up. Of course, the fly on Mike Pence's head. People are looking at those memorable moments, but also really paying attention to finally hearing where the candidates stand and what each administration would do if in the White House over the next 4 years.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a number of people chiming in. Sean, who looks like he is a Trump-Pence supporter, President Trump and Vice President Pence. Shayla, also chiming in, not so much of a Trump-Pence supporter. So again, please comment. And as Maureen said, that fly, that is what you guys are probably going to see on your social accounts, your news feeds. Holly, in fact, was just sending us a bunch of memes about the fly. And you're like, what is that? The Mike Pence fly? Well, what happened is pretty much a fly landed right on Mike Pence's head during the debate last night. And it stayed there for several minutes. And even with that, that's how you know the internet just wins it all the time. Even before the debate was over, there were multiple Twitter accounts for Mike Pence fly. So people are ready for that. And in fact, at Mike Pence fly, that's the one Twitter account kind of tweeted, everyone jealous because I got the best seat for the debate tonight. And then Merriam-Webster, they said that actually for the first time, they think the word fly was trending. So the dictionary there. So a lot of, that was the lighter moments. And I guess, I mean, could you guys imagine that? I mean, we have flies. Our studio is lovely, and but again, sometimes flies get in, and even on air, I kind of like swat stuff away. So, could you imagine just like going viral for a fly just landing on your head for the several
I don't
minutes?
I don't think that it helped that Mike Pence just has like snow white hair that you can
Yeah.
just see absolutely everything to contrast there. Like Dave, he has dark hair. You're not gonna. I don't know if you necessarily see something like that. Maybe mine. I got light hair, but
I was gonna
that definitely
say,
didn't
are there
help.
any flies in your place?
I'm yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's flies all over here, man. You know, what do you think is keeping the hair up? It's not just all gel and hairspray, man. I got a lot of things working here.
Oh my
So of course,
God.
Dave and Austin have to get it in, and of course, we of course always want to know what you guys think. So I see a number of people going back and forth on their Trump
Sorry, I'm
Pence.
back.
So President Trump as well as former Vice President Biden. So again, continue to comment on that story, and we'll be following. Again, we don't. The next debate, the presidential debate, is scheduled for a week from today. But again, that may be up in the air because of the president's COVID-19 diagnosis. So we will continue to follow that. We're also following, Willoughby Eastlake schools, where they had pretty much had to shut down a middle school because of COVID cases. And Jasmine, you were on that story this morning.
Yes, I apologize for seeing my picture at first, but I'm trying to drive home. But this morning we were talking about the middle school who has been shut down. Over 200 students and staff members all have to quarantine because 2 people tested positive. Now, we got a chance to speak to the superintendent, and he tells us he believes that those two students caught it from either a brother or a sister who's in college who, goes out more often and frequently, and brought it back to home, and then they brought it to school. But some of the things that we have to keep in mind during all of this, I know that things are open. It's just remembering that COVID is real, and it is contagious, and you have to be careful. So if your kids are experiencing some type of COVID-like symptoms or even flu-like symptoms, like now's the season. I know that every year I get sick around this time. So I have to be very careful of thinking and remembering, my immune system. So, double up on your vitamin C, drink your tea, but you have to be careful. And like parents, I don't have any kids, but I do know how difficult it was for my mom as a single parent to make sure, we were getting to school on time. But if your kids are sick, make sure they stay at home. Shutting down an entire school is ridiculous. And only because of 2 students. Imagine if those 2 students would have just stayed home. I don't know the parents' circumstances. I totally understand. We are in a time where, parents are losing their jobs. So I like to stress that I get it. I was raised by a single parent mother. I get it. But when it comes to someone's health and safety, that's no excuse. So just make sure you're taking care of.
I think schools are really understanding too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
I mean, they know if a student is late or you're kind of questioning it, I don't think schools are gonna, mind that you were being extra cautious.
Yes, so that's the Willoughby Eastlake school system who has closed the Eastlake Middle School for the next 2 weeks.
My kids have been at home, and they're going back next week in the hybrid. And we've been told if your child has a runny nose in the morning, don't go to school. Can't go to school. I mean, there are so many things out there that you have to pay attention to.
And
and this has been going on for so long now that, what I hate to see, and I hope that it's not anyone that is watching this right now, but that some people letting the guard down, and it's just human nature where, we're okay. We've been okay this long. But as Jasmine mentioned, it's still a very real thing. So you have to continue to take all the proper precautions.
Jasmine, you were about to say something?
I was just going to say, with school districts opening up, like Dave, you're saying your daughter is going back to school. What are some of the things that you have been like, she is going to be going, both of them are going to be going back to school. Like, what have you been telling them to do going back to school? Because some students still aren't at school. Like my sister, she does the hybrid, so she can go to school or she can stay home.
Yeah, well, I mean, number one, they're going to wear masks, and then they have to have a backup mask in their book bag. And as I mentioned, you have a list of things you have to check every morning before you send them in, and don't go and hug your friends, and social distance, and don't touch a bunch of things. And I have to be honest, I'm no expert at it because we're going to find out next week for sure.
My kids, by the way, I mean, everybody's temperature is taken every morning, and they have backup masks. They wash their hands a lot. There are a lot of safety protocols throughout the day, but I will say, like, we had a run of, and it's not just like my girls had the sniffles, but then all of a sudden I was talking to other parents within the school. I mean, just a common cold kind of went through, and I was saying it's surprising that it did run through the school, just because you're thinking they're washing their hands, they're using hand sanitizer, everybody has masks on, and they still got colds. So that's what made me a little concerned about headed into flu season, is that we're taking every precaution and germs are still spreading. So I think it's going to be, even extra precaution. And then also we'll just have to see how this normal flu season and cold and flu season goes.
And that's the scary part.
Maureen, similar to you with my kids, I mean, temperatures are taken. They obviously have on masks, and the other thing that I've noticed is just things like gym days. My kid, normally you would change into gym clothes. Well, if they have a gym day, they go to school like that, they stay like that. There's no cafeteria, there's no, so they're limiting any kind of interaction.
Yeah.
That would bring any child closer than 6 feet. And it'll be interesting about the flu season. My daughter made a comment to me the other day. She said, "Mom, this should be the best flu season we've ever had." Because everyone's wearing a mask and we're all washing our hands more than we ever had. So I hope she's right.
We hope. So as we close this, I just want to say, like Shayla, she says, please keep y'all kids home if they are sick or not. And then Kelly, she has a good question, and she says, why is it that we continue to hear about the president's condition when it comes to the COVID-19, but there is never any mention of the first lady? So yeah, Holly and Dave are leaving for the Today Show cut-in. And I just want to let you know that our partners at USA Today, they do have an update of Melania's condition there for you. So again, continue to comment on this post. We are here every day around 7:05 to talk with you guys. Jasmine, Austin, thank you so much for sticking around. We're not in the Today Show little cut-ins there, but we'll see you tomorrow morning. But we hold it down, right? We're holding it down. So thank you for joining us today. Have a great Thursday. Stick with the 3 News Now up. Oh my goodness, I'm making up words now. 3 News app, as well as WKYC.com. We'll continue